This video will cover how to get a fat analog pad with the Korg M1. Though I'll cover how to make the pad on the M1, the method could be used on just about any ROMpler. Before I get started, I'll mention that the last video was inspired by a message I got about how to make a synthwave bass. I was sent a link of a video with the title How to Create a Synthwave Bass in Less Than 1 Minute. Although the title made a claim, it really didn't explain how to set the envelopes, detune the oscillators, etc. The video just offered an app with a bass present. The videos here really go into the details of making a particular sound. Once you know things like the oscillator, EG settings, you can apply what you learn to other model synths. But much of what I see on the web seems to lack this. Apps are used without an understanding of how to make a sound from scratch. For this video, I wanted to use a clip from the 1980 Flash Gordon, since the synth in the soundtrack was the first time I was impressed with the sound of a pad. But I was unable to download it from YouTube. The frustration of trying to find software to download a video reminded me of why I use vintage synths for music instead of a computer. I made this list. A DX7 does not change its terms of service. A DX7 does not ask for your email. DX7 does not withdraw a subscription fee from your bank account. The same could be said of the Korg M1 or any vintage sequencer or sampler. That's why I make these videos. I wonder why I don't have more subscribers. Is it because I'm not an annoying clickbait scammer? This is the new patch on the M1. It was inspired by the huge pad on the Roland Super JX. It's really difficult to tell the difference between the sound of the patch from the two synths. First, mute the effects so you only hear the waveforms. So I'll go in here and turn off the chorus, and so now you'll only hear the waveforms. The patch uses two oscillators that are both saw waves. For the big sound, the oscillators were tuned an octave apart. So oscillator 1 is set as a setting of 16 foot with a level of 50, and the second oscillator is a level of 16 with an 8 foot. Korg used the octave names of old pipe organs. I'll mute the second oscillator so you'll only hear the first oscillator. It's a saw wave with no modulation. Now I'll mute the first oscillator so you'll hear the second oscillator. Notice the vibrato. That's what makes the patch sound fat. If both oscillators were modulated in unison, the waveforms would not be banging against each other. It's that irregularity that makes it sound fat. For years I was trying to figure out how to make a patch fat by detuning the oscillators, but I found out that only one of the waveforms should have vibrato. Go to the pitch modulation page, which is page 6. The waveform is a triangle. The modulation rate is 64 with a little delay of 1. And then I set the intensity of 5, but I could even set it a little higher. Of course, oscillator 2 is the only waveform that's going to be modulated. For the filter settings should be the same for both oscillators. So I have a 56 cutoff. It's really not cutting that much off. And an EG intensity of 28. And then these are the filter settings that you can copy. The amplitude settings are the same for both oscillators, which is on page 4. 59 gives you a slow attack, and by raising this number would even make it slower. And it's important to have a long release, so I have a release of 69. The effect on the JX was important to the sound, but there was no way for me to check the settings for the coarse effect. But here are the settings I made that are rather close. A modulation depth of 60, a modulation speed of 0.57 hertz, and that setting should be able to be made on other synths. A delay time of 10 milliseconds, and the waveform is a triangle. And the ratio balance is dry 60 to 40 effect. Again, this method could be used in just about any ROMpler. I had no difficulty programming this patch on the Korg wave station. If there's any kinds of patches you would like me to cover the method of making, you could request it in the comments section below. I'm considering making a video of how to use the LFO like an arpeggiator. Here's a cool patch. The patches are only $9, so they are well worth it. Until next time, take care.